There are psalms many believers quote every day, yet remain financially stuck for decades. And there are psalms others understand quietly, and doors open. The difference is not prayer volume. It is understanding. My name is Abela. What I'm about to share is not a sermon. It is not a motivational talk. And it is not theory. For many years, I stood on the other side of prayer. I watched Christians pray psalms with sincerity, and still remain poor. Not because God ignored them, but because spiritual laws were being ignored. I enforced resistance against praying believers. I monitored psalms spoken without alignment. I saw which ones activated favor, and which ones produced no response. Today, I speak not to glorify darkness, but to expose ignorance that keeps sincere believers stuck. Because not all psalms function the same way, and not every psalm responds to repetition. Section 1: Why psalms sometimes don't work. Let me say this carefully. Psalms are not magic spells. They are legal declarations. In the spiritual realm, every word must agree with identity, alignment, foundation, authority. When those don't align, psalms become noise, not power. I saw Christians quote Psalm 23 daily. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. While actively living in disobedience, injustice, or broken agreements. In witchcraft, we never feared Christians who quoted psalms. We feared Christians who understood them. Because understanding activates law. Section 2: The Psalm of Ownership, Psalm 24. One psalm worthy believers understand deeply is Psalm 24. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. This psalm is not about worship only. It is about ownership transfer. In the spirit realm, wealth responds to legal ownership. When a believer truly understands that everything belongs to God, they stop fighting for money and start stewarding access. But here is what blocks it. If a person claims God's ownership while stealing, cheating, exploiting, or withholding restitution, the psalm becomes legally inactive. We used to say in the coven, if their hands don't match their mouth, the psalm cannot rise. Testimony: Ghana. There was a businessman in Kumasi who prayed Psalm 24 daily. But his contracts collapsed repeatedly. Later, he returned land he acquired through deception. Within months, deals stabilized. The psalm didn't change. The alignment did. Section 3: The Psalm of Labor and Reward, Psalm 128. Psalm 128 says, You shall eat the labor of your hands, you shall be happy. This psalm activates reward continuity. Many believers work hard but never enjoy results. Why? Because somewhere, labor is disconnected from reward. In witchcraft operations, we targeted people whose labor was legally diverted. Unpaid wages. Unresolved injustice. Family claims. Broken vows. Psalm 128 responds only when labor is clean. Testimony: Nigeria. A mechanic in Ibadan struggled for years. He prayed Psalm 128 faithfully. Then he paid an apprentice he underpaid years earlier. Within 1 year, his workshop expanded. When justice returned, reward followed. Section 4: The Psalm of Divine Supply, Psalm 23. Psalm 23 is not about comfort only. It is about provision order. He prepares a table before me. Tables don't appear randomly. They appear where alignment is correct. We enforce scarcity by disrupting peace, obedience, spiritual rest. When believers lived in anxiety, fear, or constant compromise, the table delayed. The psalm did not fail. The environment did. Section 5: The Psalm of Transfer, Psalm 35. Psalm 35 is powerful and dangerous without understanding. It governs conflict resolution and transfer of advantage. But here is the truth. If you quote Psalm 35 while holding bitterness, revenge, or pride, it rebounds. We exploited this ignorance often. But when a believer used Psalm 35 with clean conscience, witchcraft could not stand. Section 6, the Psalm of Open Gates, Psalm 118. Psalm 118 says, "Open to me the gates of righteousness." Gates respond to identity, not desperation. Believers who understood this psalm stopped begging. They aligned behavior with righteousness. When righteousness is restored, gates open naturally. Section 7, why the poor ignore these psalms. This may hurt, but it must be said. Many believers ignore restitution, obedience, correction, silence of wrong voices. They prefer louder prayers to quieter obedience. But psalms respond to agreement, not volume. Transition to midnight teaching. Now listen carefully. Midnight is not magical. It is legal timing. It is when spiritual records are accessed. So if you're going to pray psalms at midnight, you must pray them with alignment. Closing prayer. Lord, teach me understanding. Remove legal resistance. Let prayer become dangerous again. Amen. Final word. I am not telling you to stop praying psalms. I am telling you to understand them. Because when alignment returns, witchcraft loses relevance. My name is Abola. This is my confession.